I don't see Genie anywhere.
Still, she might have been here to hide the book in her stash.
I guess it's worth making sure. Give me a moment. A piñata. I need to break it somehow. Nothing. No book in sight.
If the book isn't here, Genie is probably still in the vents.
Any way to get her out?
In theory, we could flush her out through Haven's ventilation system. Fortunately for us, she has a GPS device on her, so we can track her movements. All we're really missing is the GPS receiver.
Where is it? I'll bring it.
It should be in the laboratory. In the meantime, I'll prep everything in the control room. We'll access the ventilation system through there.
Sounds good. I need a key card to unlock it. I need to break the ice first. I think that's the one. I should bring it to Ruben. I've got the receiver. What do you want me to do with it?
Connect it to the port on the table next to me.
I need to turn it on.
Great. I think that's it. Now, we just need to get Genie out.
What's the plan here exactly?
With the GPS receiver, we can see where she is in the vents. If we shift the airflow in them, we can guide Genie out. But I'll need a hand with this. The system requires 2 people to operate fully.
All right, let's give it a try. Out. I need to use the fans to guide Genie out. Genie's blocking the way. She's out.
Good job. Genie should have come out in Genetica Keep.
Let's get that book back.
Carla, I'll distract Genie. You grab the book from her.
Let's see how this plays out. I need to wait until her guard is down. I've got the book, but Genie didn't seem very happy about it.
She'll be fine. More importantly, the book is safe and sound now.
Then it's a good time to start talking.
Very well. I won't go back on my word. What do you want to know about the book on the Overseers?
Tell me what you know about the overseers.
Well, the book you're holding contains their early history. They are a very old, secretive, and powerful group of people. They are as rotten inside as outside. To be honest, what I told you earlier about why your mom left me wasn't the full story. Back then, the group who terrorized us both was them, the overseers.
If I remember your story correctly, you were a part of them.
Everything I said before was true. I left as soon as I realized what type of organization it was. But the story didn't end there. The harassment didn't stop. And the overseers basically buried my business. My startup company was on the verge of collapsing.
Obviously, it didn't stop you from building your business empire in the end.
That's because I struck a deal with them.
What did you agree to? It must have been quite a negotiation.
I'm not proud of this, but I promised them 10% of yearly revenue from my company. Every year, I wire them money masked as donations to charities.
Hold on a second. When we found your ledger in the abandoned house, the pages with charitable donations were missing. Is it related to the overseers?
Carla, please don't make me answer this question.
It's way too late to keep any more secrets.
I hope I won't regret this later. The donations missing from the ledger were the ones I sent to the overseers. I kept you from the full message left in the ledger, too. It said, "Thanks for the money."
So all of it, the murders on the island, the sniper, what happened to you and my mom, is the work of the overseers.
Even if we know this, what does it change now? My past mistakes came back to haunt me and hurt the people I care about.
Is there any way we can stop them for good?
That's where the book comes in. By itself, it isn't as important. I believe most of the members have a copy of it, but I keep a list of names in this one. The list is a combined effort of an over 2 decades-long investigation. I was able to track down most of the members, except for the top branch.
Why haven't you given it to the police, the government, or anyone at all for that matter?
Without knowing a single member at the top of the chain, there's no point. If we try to cut off a limb, they'll just grow it back and be more cautious next time.
There must be something we can do about them.
Let's cross that bridge when we get there. First of all, I'm more worried about what the culprit will do next. Given how close they are to getting all the information on the Genetica formula, they might do something radical. I'd prefer that you get something to protect yourself.
What do you have in mind?
Nothing specific, as long as it can knock a person out if worst comes to worst.
Did Lucas have anything I could use?
No. We kept the gun only as a safety precaution. We never really had any security issues before on the island. I'll contact Sam. He's always been cautious. He probably brought some self-defense equipment to the island.
Are you sure we can trust the Admiral?
Samuel is a lot of things, but an overseer is not one of them. I'll text him now to meet up with you.
What will you do?
I'll run another sweep of Haven. I want to make sure we didn't miss any of the hidden cameras. All right. He texted me back. He's going to meet you in the boathouse. I'll get in touch if anything else comes up.
Okay. Stay safe.
You too.
Miss Page, mind explaining why Reuben wants to arm you for self-defense? Why now?
I'll explain everything afterward. But first, I'd prefer to get what I came here for.
Very well, but you owe me some answers. Now, I did bring some self-defense equipment to the island, but unfortunately, I left all of it in the boat when I arrived. If any equipment survived the fire, it should be lying at the bottom of the sea. I had pepper spray and a stun gun. Any preferences?
I think the stun gun is a better option here.
Great. I kept it in a watertight box, so it shouldn't have been damaged by the water. But it won't get itself, so why don't you put the diving suit on and go for a swim? I'll hold the perimeter while you're down there.
Okay, I'll be back shortly. No stun gun, and the pepper spray isn't going to be of any use.
So, did you get the stun gun?
I didn't, but I found the pepper spray instead. I doubt I can use it though.
What's wrong with it? Let me have a look. You should have started by saying that it melted. Could have saved us both some time.
Sure. The next time I find a melted canister of pepper spray, you'll be the first to know.
Enough with the sarcasm. Did you forget I'm helping you out of my own goodwill? I'm free to leave whenever I please.
Right. Sorry. What about the stun gun then? Any ideas where it could be?
Well, if you're certain it wasn't with the boat remains, it could have washed ashore.
Like, to the beach?
Hopefully. Why don't we go check?
It's missing a pearl. I found it. It washed ashore, as you said.
Good, but it's not a toy, Miss Page. Be careful with it.
I think I can handle it.
For your sake, I hope you will. Now, let's head back to the mansion. I'd like to get those answers you promised.
Sure.
Now then, why don't you get me up to speed on the situation?
The overseers aren't just a story. We're pretty sure the culprit is one of them.
Why? Because of the emblem we found before?
I found this book filled with information on the overseers.
Where on earth did you find something like that?
Reuben had it. It's not important. The point is that Reuben also thinks the culprit is an overseer.
If that's really the truth, then this is indeed a very serious matter.
They are also really close to obtaining the last piece of the genetica formula. Reuben is worried they might do something drastic to get it. He said it would be best to prepare ourselves if push comes to shove.
We cannot let the overseers get their hands on the serum. The very thought sends shivers down my spine.
Same. I don't think I'll be able to get any sleep tonight.
A good night's sleep is the least of our worries.
Oh, I think Reuben texted me.
What's wrong?
The last file has gone missing.
The last file? What does that mean?
Reuben had 3 files into which all the research on genetica was split. If the last file is gone, it must mean that the culprit has all of them now.
Where is Reuben? We need to meet up with him ASAP.
1 second. I'll text him. He's in the security office.
Let's go. Reuben, Miss Page brought me mostly up to speed on the situation. I need confirmation from you. Does the culprit have all the information on Project Genetica?
I believe so.
God damn it. This is a matter of national security. We need to get those documents back immediately.
I know. I'm just trying to piece together how they found the last file.
When did you realize the file was missing?
After I finished in Haven, I came here to check on it. So, a few minutes ago.
First things first, we need to establish a time frame during which the file was stolen. When was the last time you confirmed the file's location?
Today, early in the morning.
So it must have been taken rather recently. All right, I'll have a look around. Maybe I'll find something that could give us a hint.
We should all keep our eyes peeled.
I did find a brooch. I doubt it belonged to Lucas.
Can I have a look at it? This brooch, it's Mrs. Bird's. She wears it all the time.
When we spoke with her this morning, she was wearing it, wasn't she?
Back in the parlor? Yes. I believe Georgiana had the brooch on her.
If it is her brooch, she must have been here at some point during the day.
And she might have seen something.
I'll go and speak with her.
You go and do that, Miss Page. I'd like to ask Q a few questions myself. It's for the best if we split up to cover more ground.
Why do you want to question him?
I saw Q hanging around the garden during the day. I find the boy suspicious after all the lies he spouted about me.
Sam, knowing your relationship with Q, I don't think it's a good idea to leave the two of you alone.
Good point, Ruben. You should be there with them. You know,
Right. It's probably for the best. Sam, I'm coming with you.
Suit yourself.
since that's settled, mind returning the brooch to me? I'll give it back to Mrs. B.
Right. Of course. Carla, let's meet up back in the dining hall after.
Roger that. Mrs. B, do you have a moment?
Of course, dear. I'm always here for you.
You were in Lucas's room today, right?
Yes, I was. How did
I found your brooch in his room. Actually, you can have it back.
Oh my. I guess I did lose it while I was in Lucas's room.
Could you tell me why you were in there?
Of course, dear. I was doing my daily cleaning routine, and you might think it's a bit silly of me, but I usually spend some time speaking with Lucas while I'm there, too. I feel like it's the only place where he can hear me. But Carla, what is this really about?
Really, it should be Ruben to answer that, not me.
Understood. Hopefully, Ruben will fill me in on the details later. Dear, if you have any other questions, please don't be shy. I'll help in any way I can.
Maybe you saw someone suspicious during the day?
I did see a few people around while cleaning, but nothing that I could say was suspicious. Now that I think about it, I did see Jack sneaking around in the basement hall. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Figured he was sneaking more snacks out of the fridge. But now...
I think I got it. Thank you, Mrs. B. That was really helpful.
I'm glad I could help.
I should meet up with Ruben and the Admiral in the dining hall.
Sam, I'm glad I didn't let you go alone.
What are you talking about? He would have answered the questions just fine without you. Carla, did you talk with Mrs. Bird?
I did.
So, do you think we should put her on the list of suspects?
Everyone's a suspect until the culprit is found.
Huh! You took the words right out of my mouth.
But she did give me another lead to follow. She saw Jax lurking around in the basement hall during the day.
Interesting. Q also mentioned that Jax was acting odd. Around the afternoon, he saw Jax entering his suite, said it looked like he was hiding something behind his jacket.
Apparently, Jax was coming in and out of his room rather often.
Did you speak with Jax about it?
No, not yet. We wanted to meet up with you first.
Since we're all here and caught up, why don't we go and pay a visit to Mr. Trainer?
Let's start at his suite.
Jax, let us in.
Maybe he's not in?
He might be hiding out. There is only one way to know for sure.
Seems a bit excessive, Sam. Don't you think?
You can send me the bill later. Let's go in.
Great job, Sam. He's not here.
If not for me, we wouldn't have known that.
We probably could have used one of the windows to get in.
Miss Page, do I look like someone who'd crawl through a window?
Excuse me for trying to be resourceful.
Right. Well, Jax is probably somewhere in the mansion. We should split up and look for him.
You guys go ahead. I'll take a look around his room. There might be something here that can explain his behavior. Let me know once you find him.
Will do.
Jax, what are you up to? I can't see what's inside without the magnifying glass. That's Janet's diary. Did Jax take it from her room? There has to be something else in here. I don't see anything hidden under the bed, aside from dust. Looks like Jax threw himself quite a pity party. I should grab a photo, just in case. Oh, I just got a text message.
We found him like this. He's completely knocked out.
That explains the empty bottle in his room.
Why on earth would he drink himself into a coma?
I think I have a pretty good idea. Ruben, I found a diary back in his suite. Take a look. It's Janet's. He probably read it.
Janet shared with me some of her thoughts about Jack's way of living before. Nothing pretty there. But they'd already split up. It shouldn't have made him spiral out of control like this.
It's the icing on the cake. I didn't tell you, but a few nights ago, Jack slept with Margot. Yesterday, he confessed to Janet.
Jax, why do you make such stupid choices in life?
From the looks of it, he seems remorseful.
People, this is getting us nowhere. It's highly unlikely that this mess is our culprit.
Perhaps, but he might have seen something during the day.
We should at the very least try to sober him up. Well, until he can speak again.
Any bright ideas on how we can do that?
I have some electrolyte tablets down in the wine cellar. It could help him recover a bit faster. Though, even if he drinks them, it will take some time.
It's better than nothing.
The longer we wait, the more time we give the culprit to do God knows what. We need to restrain the culprit somehow.
Okay, but do you have a plan on how to stop them?
No, not at the moment.
I think I have an idea. We should gather everyone into the dining hall. This way, we'll limit the culprit's movements and have eyes and ears on everyone.
With everyone in the same place, we might just be able to figure out who the culprit is.
I guess we don't have much of a choice.
Then it's settled. Sam, let's move Jackson to the dining hall. I'll text everyone to come there too. Carla, in the meantime, could you go grab the electrolyte tablets from the wine cellar?
I'm on it. I should probably prep it too. I need a glass of water. Kitchen it is. There might be some clean glasses in the dishwasher. No glasses on the bottom shelf. Halfway there. Now to fill it up with water and drop one of the tablets in. Done and done. All that's left is to get Jax to drink it. Light drink.
Excellent. Pass it over. I'll make sure Jax drinks every single drop of it. Miss Page, help me sit him up straight.
Sure.
I need the glass empty, boy. Time to prove your mettle. Good job.
Well, I guess it'll be some time before it takes effect.
Don't hold your breath. Reuben, when is everyone getting here?
I just sent the last message. Hopefully, they'll be here soon.
What happened to Jax? Is he all right?
One too many drinks by the look of it.
Disregarding the lump of flesh on the table? Mind explaining what we're all doing here?
I will once everyone's here. But we are missing Janet.
Why is Janet not here? Did anyone see her?
See, I saw her in the backyard earlier. She did look a bit upset.
Q? Why didn't you say anything when we spoke with you before?
I'm sorry, senor. I didn't think it was important.
Did you see where she was headed?
See, Miss Janet went into the jungle for a walk.
And she didn't come back?
I don't know.
All right. Everyone, I'd like for all of you to stay in this room for the time being. I'll explain everything afterward.
Of course, Reuben. If we must...
We'll stay here, dear.
Thank you. I appreciate your cooperation. Carla, could you come with me to search for Janet?
Of course.
Sam, please keep an eye on everyone until we come back.
You can count on me.
Thank you. Carla, let's go. Janet, I hope nothing bad happened to her.
Don't worry, Reuben. Janet's fine. She's out there somewhere.
I hope you're right, Carla. If something's happened to her...
Then we shouldn't stand around here for too long. She might have gone in deeper.
Janet! Are you here?
Janet! Can you hear us?
Damn it. She's not here. She would have responded already. We need to keep looking.
She might have gone into the abandoned house. We should check it.
Let's split up. I'll check the house here. You go ahead to the lighthouse.
All right. Let's do this. Why would someone do this? Could Janet be in there? I can't take it off. I need wire cutters. Maybe there are wire cutters in the shed? I need to finish carving it out.
I couldn't find Janet. Did you check the lighthouse yet?
No. Someone jammed the door handle with a metal wire. I think Janet might be inside.
And in danger. We need to get there right now.
I'm working on it.
Janet!
Carla? Reuben? I...
Carla, we need to cut Janet loose.
Leave it to me.
I'm so happy you're okay. I was worried sick. Who did this to you?
I don't know. Everything happened so fast.
Maybe you can take us through it step by step. Why did you go into the jungle by yourself?
I came here not long after I caught Ruben rummaging through my room. I just couldn't bear being shut up inside those four walls anymore. So I went for a walk. While I was out here, someone snuck up behind me and knocked me out. Next thing I know, I wake up, tied up.
You probably need to be examined. You might have a concussion. I'll text Catherine and tell her to be ready.
Before we go back, Janet, mind if I ask you a few more questions?
Of course. I'll help any way I can.
Any idea why someone would do this to you?
I really have no clue.
Maybe something happened during the day?
Well, I ran into Margot and gave her a piece of my mind for sleeping with Jax.
Did you start a fight with her?
I expected one to break out, but she just apologized. It didn't really escalate any further.
The most important thing is that you're alive and safe. I've contacted Catherine, so let's head back to the mansion and get you checked over.
Okay.
Could you start examining Janet?
I'm on it.
Mind explaining what exactly happened out there?
We found Janet tied up in the lighthouse. Someone attacked her.
Monsieur! Oh my.
No need to worry. Janet's gonna be fine after a good night's rest.
Thank you. Janet's attacker is probably the same person who stole all the files on Project Genetica. The one who murdered Freddy and Portia, whoever it is, they're still here among us. We gathered all of you here to get to the bottom of this once and for all. No one will leave this place until the culprit is identified.
Damn straight. Now why don't we get started?
Right. As you all know, I've been looking into all the incidents and murders that took place during our stay here. From the clues I've gathered, I believe I'm very close to uncovering the culprit's identity. I'm certain that once I've gone through all the evidence one more time, we'll be able to determine the culprit.
Let's begin with Lucas's death, then.
Sure. At first, we thought Lucas slipped and fell by accident. But that wasn't the case. From the state of his body, it seemed that he had been in a fight before he died.
If I remember correctly, we found out his knuckles were freshly bruised.
That's right. We also noticed Lucas's suit was ripped. By that point, I was already suspecting Freddy was involved somehow. I found one of Freddy's pins by the pool. Besides, he had a bad limp around that time too, but there was no real proof, since the pool patio's security footage of the incident was missing.
Except that in one of the remaining frames, I noticed Lucas was talking to someone. So I questioned Mrs. Bird about it afterward. She was the first to find the body after all.
Could you tell everyone what you talked about?
Mrs. Bird told me she escorted Freddy to his room.
Yes. And then I went to finish tidying the Starship suite.
Thanks to the Admiral's chat with Mrs. B, I ended up questioning Freddy later. Freddy claimed he saw Q fighting with Lucas by the pool. So, we checked the greenhouse security footage during the time of the incident. Q was there. He couldn't have done it.
That's the moment we realized Freddy was lying through his teeth.
We went to confront Freddy in his room, but he was gone. Instead, we found his notebook, which confirmed our suspicions. Freddy had murdered Lucas.
That's when we all split up into teams and went to search for Freddy.
We found him, lying dead at the bottom of the well in the abandoned house. But his death was no accident.
Dear, how can you be certain it wasn't an accident?
The well's lid was barred by a steel pipe. Someone wanted to make sure Freddy couldn't get out in case he survived the fall. There's also another very important piece of the puzzle. I believe Freddy was being blackmailed and manipulated by someone in this room.
And what did they use to blackmail Freddy with?
The camera footage of Lucas's death, which we thought had been deleted. In the heat of the fight, Freddy accidentally pushed Lucas. Lucas tripped and fell backward, hitting his head on the corner of the pool. And you know the rest. I believe the culprit used this footage to their advantage by transferring it onto a USB key before they deleted it from the system. They probably approached Freddy after that. I think they blackmailed Freddy using the footage, making him their puppet.
It's an interesting theory, Ms. Page. But where's the proof? Where's the USB key?
Carla gave it to me before. I can confirm the USB key is real.
Fine, but the USB key with the security footage didn't appear out of thin air. Where did you find it?
In Jax's suite. I know that doesn't look good for Jax, but I think it was planted there.
On what basis?
The USB key was lying on the floor, partially hidden, as if it was lost. But I don't believe the culprit would be careless enough to lose something so important.
It does sound suspicious, I'll give you that. All right, so if Freddy was being manipulated, what exactly did he have to do for the culprit?
I'm sure that Freddy was made to scout out the lighthouse to find the best vantage point. I found a torn map showing the way to the lighthouse in his room.
He tried to get rid of the map?
He ripped it up and tried to burn it. Thankfully, he didn't do a good job. In any case, when I found the map, I decided to investigate the lighthouse myself. That's where I found the military-grade binoculars.
And you're sure Freddy was in the lighthouse because?
By the binoculars, there was also an empty bottle of Freddy's favorite wine. I'm sure he spent the night there. Most likely, he was involved in some of the other incidents as well.
One thing's still not clear to me. If Freddy was being manipulated by the culprit, why was he murdered?
I believe Freddy found leverage against his blackmailer. And I think that ties directly in with your poisoning, Ruben.
Miss Page, why don't you explain how you reached this conclusion from the beginning?
Of course. After Ruben collapsed during our first dinner together, we started investigating what happened. Dr. Cat ran tests on Ruben that revealed a poison or venom of some kind in his system. At the time, we thought he'd been poisoned by the food or wine. But we ran further tests with Dr. Cat and found no traces of poison in them.
We hit a wall back then, without any further leads to investigate. Until
Until I had a delayed allergic reaction on my hand.
Which, after analysis, led us to the conclusion that the poison got into your system through your skin.
And how does this relate to Freddy's murder?
It's part of this ring I found on Freddy that makes me suspicious. The same ring that was used to poison you.
A poison ring? Seems like something straight out of my books.
No fiction here, just facts. We found out about the ring thanks to another USB key the culprit left behind in Portia's laptop.
It just looks like an ordinary ring to me.
This button here opens the compartment where the poison was stored.
Can I have a look at it?
Of course. I believe Freddy got his hands on part of the ring and used it as leverage against our culprit, which, in the end, cost Freddy his life.
You said Freddy had a part of it, but what you showed us was a full ring. Was it not?
The other part, the sapphire, I found mixed in with the tablecloth in the dryer. I believe the murderer lost the sapphire while poisoning Ruben, and it went through the washing machine with the tablecloth. This led me to believe Ruben was poisoned during dinner.
Isn't it possible Ruben was poisoned earlier?
Unlikely. Some of the poison compounds we identified are very quick to take effect.
I had contact with everyone in the room during the dinner. Anyone could have sprayed it on me.
Doesn't that leave the possibility that Freddy could have plotted to poison Ruben and done the deed himself?
First of all, Freddy's dead. Even if he did do it, too many things don't add up. The security footage kept on the USB key, him carrying a part of the ring in his pocket. And I'm sure someone would have noticed Freddy wearing such a flashy ring during dinner.
So, your conclusion is that Freddy couldn't have poisoned Ruben?
That's right. All of the heinous acts from that point on were carried out by the person who killed Freddy. Their main objective from the start was to get information on Project Genetica. That's probably why the poison Ruben was sprayed with wasn't lethal. He was kept alive in case the culprit couldn't find any information on the project.
Yet Portia was the one who ended up paying the ultimate price.
Portia's death was a consequence of the culprit trying to get their hands on Genetica. I believe Portia caught the culprit off guard while they were hacking into her laptop. From the evidence I found, I believe it happened something like this.
What are you doing here? You!
I believe that after shooting Portia, the culprit ran away, worried that someone had heard the shots. While investigating the crime scene, I also found a cartridge that seemed to be from a handgun. That's when I decided to check Lucas's gun, which the Admiral was keeping hidden at the time. The number of bullets missing from it was the same number Portia was shot with. It was the murder weapon.
Does that mean the Admiral is the murderer?
Calm down. I didn't kill anyone. Someone stole it from my room, and after committing the crime, put it back in there to frame me.
He couldn't have done it. The Admiral and Q were in the backyard around the time Portia was murdered.
See, the Admiral was with me.
What about Janet? She was in the room with Portia's body when Ruben found them.
We found her unconscious on the floor, with no murder weapon in sight. If she did kill Portia, Janet would have had to put the gun back in the Admiral's suite before returning to the murder scene. It doesn't make much sense. But there's also the culprit's black trench coat, which I found in Janet's suite. The coat's fabric matched the torn piece I found after the Admiral was attacked.
Are you saying it's Janet's?
It didn't fit her, but I'm sure it was planted there to try and throw me off the trail. Either way, before making any further assumptions, there's something else I need to let all of you know. We discovered that the culprit is part of a secretive, very powerful group of people called the Overseers.
Never heard of them.
Consider yourself lucky. Some of the stories I've heard still send shivers down my spine.
I believe most of the stories about the Overseers have a kernel of truth to them. From the information I gathered about them, their roots go back to the 16th century. Their long history is full of instances where they abuse their power from the shadows to influence governments, even kings.
Sounds a bit far-fetched. You really want us to believe this group still exists and remains active to this day?
I encountered them in my younger days. I saw firsthand what they are capable of. Make no mistake, one of them is in this room.
Oh my!
How do you even know the culprit is one of these so-called overseers?
While investigating the trail left by the culprit, we found an emblem with an eye symbol on it. This emblem is heavily associated with the group. I believe their ultimate goal is to steal the formula for the Genetica serum and exploit it for personal gain and power.
Carla, even if all this is true, it doesn't tell us who the culprit is.
Which is why, before I start pointing fingers, there are some other facts I should mention. The culprit was able to sneak a sniper rifle onto the island. They actually tried to do me in, but luckily missed their shot.
I'm glad you're okay, dear.
Oh, chérie, you should have told me sooner. I can't imagine how traumatic the experience must have been.
I'm just glad to be alive.
The takeaway is that the culprit must have had some serious training to try for such a long shot during a storm.
Carla, now all our cards are on the table. Do you know who the culprit is?
I think I can narrow down the list of suspects to 2 people.
Go on, then.
First of all, it couldn't be Ruben. There's just no motive for him to do any of this. We can cross Q off too, as he couldn't have poisoned Ruben during the dinner. He wasn't there. Also, Q and the Admiral were together when Portia was killed. Neither of them could have murdered her. Dr. Cat can be taken off the list too, even if her motives for taking the data on Genie are questionable. Poisoning Ruben would have been a waste of her time, as she had to do the most looking after him, leaving little time to search the mansion for any information on the project. Janet did have a motive to kill Portia, and we did find her at the murder scene. But there's no way she could have tied herself up in the lighthouse. I don't consider her a suspect, and Jax is not exactly in a state to be able to pull off any heists either. All this leaves only 2 people who could possibly be the culprit. It's Margot or Mrs. Bird.
Excuse me? It's obviously the cleaning lady, chérie.
I'm innocent! I could never hurt Ruben!
Enough! Miss Page, get to the point. Who is the culprit?
I'm fairly certain it's Mrs. Bird.
Carla! I am not the murderer! How could you say that?
Georgiana, let's remain calm. I'd like to hear Carla's reasoning first.
Thank you, Ruben. To start with, Mrs. B was the closest to you during the dinner. When serving food, she was standing right beside you. She could have easily poisoned you.
Carla, there is no evidence to back this up.
She also had access to every guest room. I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one who framed Jax.
You've got the wrong person, dear. I'm innocent.
Then where were you after you served dinner to us, the night the Admiral's boat was torched?
I was in the kitchen, cleaning up.
I bet no one saw you down there, though. Right?
You're breaking my heart, dear. Do you really believe I could have killed Portia, too?
When we questioned everyone, Marco told us she left you alone in the club room. It was around the time Portia was murdered. You had a window.
Dear, having an opportunity and actually seizing it are two different things. I thought you'd know the difference.
Let's not forget how you almost always end up being close by when Genetica files are stolen. First, we found you locked in Haven after the alarm went off. Maybe you weren't able to get out in time. So you decided to hide the file, put on a little act for us, and then go back to take it later.
That's just absurd.
What about today then? When the last Genetica file was stolen from the security room. Is it so absurd that you were the only one in the security room?
Hang on a sec. I might not fully understand but I'm certain what you just said ain't true.
Mind elaborating, Jax?
This afternoon, I saw Margot leaving the security office.
Care to explain yourself, Margot?
Please, Ruben. He must have drunk too much and dreamt it up.
Margot, when I spoke with you today, you were coming up from the basement hall.
So what? That doesn't mean I was in the security office.
Well, if I were in the culprit's shoes and suspected someone had seen me with a stolen file, I'd probably assault them and tie them up too.
Are you insane? I didn't attack her.
But you're obviously hiding something.
Oh, chérie, I believe you're better at keeping secrets than I am. Why hide the fact that Ruben's your father?
Carla is Ruben's daughter. I can't say I'm not surprised. But Margot, how do you know this?
I run a media empire, Sam. It's my job to know.
Is Carla really your daughter, Ruben?
It's true. She is. It's a long story, but it doesn't matter right now.
I strongly disagree. If you've been hiding something as important as this, what else are you not telling us? Maybe you and your little daughter are the true culprits, scheming behind everyone's backs.
The only one scheming right now is you.
Your word means as much as mine.
You're right. But I have something you don't. Evidence. During my first few days here, when Mrs. B started helping me, she received a handwritten threat. That was the culprit's biggest mistake. If I compare the handwriting on it with yours, we'll know who's lying.
Sure. Give me a piece of paper and a pen. I'll prove it's not mine.
No need. I actually already have a handwritten note from your notebook.
Is stealing another skill of yours?
If it helps the investigation.
Carla, why don't you use the table to compare notes so everyone can see?
Works for me.